We are live.
Hi.
There we go. This is it. Catch up. It's been what, 2 years since you did your last one with me, I think.
So 2 years already, is it?
Yeah, it flies by, eh?
It does. It does. 2 years.
Lots happened since then. You've retired, moved
Retired
on almost full-time coaching and stuff.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Still coaching.
The country's got a deadly virus. All sorts going on.
Coronavirus. It's crazy,
How
isn't it?
you Are you enjoying retirement, mate? What's going on? Are you spending this? This is retirement for you because you're not getting to train or teach or anything. So the pandemic has forced you into what would actually be retirement. What have you been doing?
What, in the coronavirus?
Yeah.
It's like I reckon when it all goes back to normal, I'll miss some of these things, you know. Everyone can say it is bad, it's terrible, but it's quite nice to lie in, and it's quite nice to sleep all day and eat what you want. I'm bulking at the moment, 84 kilos, and I'm really hairy as well. My back is like a carpet. On that, I've been going out running every day. I go out running for like 2 hours, not fast, just like plodding, like probably 11, 12-minute miles, just slow, just in shape. Doing some pull-ups and chin-ups, some press-ups, shadow boxing, but yeah, you can't train properly, can you? I want to hit things. I want a bag. I wish I had a bag or a speed ball or a floor-to-ceiling ball, something I could touch up a little bit. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's like I'm missing the gym. I can't teach in the gym, but I still got my second job. I got that other job as like a process analyst for printers, and I'm still working from home. So I've got a home setup at the moment. So I'm working from there. So I've still got like a decent income coming in. But I really miss the gym. You know, I really, really miss the gym.
Yeah, I was like Nad commented on my status the other day, and like you don't realize just how much a part of each other's life you are, because so you and I have been maybe 16 years, and then of those 16 years, for 14 of them we probably saw each other 5 days a week and probably spoke at least 5 days a week for those 14 years. So then you go to
boom, times a day as well, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
You know, so all the time, you know.
Yeah, it's strange. It's weird that like you're bound to miss. People think, oh, gym, oh, you missed the gym, oh, get a life. It's a bit sad and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but that's been everything. That's from me, from the age of like 19 or 20. That's been everything. It's been MMA and the people I share it with.
Yeah, they don't understand though. They think going to the gym is like you go to David Lloyd's and you do some bench press and then you don't talk to anyone and then you have a shower and you leave after taking selfies of yourself doing bicep poses. But that's
is this what you do when you go to David Lloyd?
Yes, but that's not what MMA is. MMA is like a community, you know. It's like it's a group, you know. So there's a lot of social interaction. You train with people, you get involved with people, you have hopes and aspirations for different people. Do you know what I mean? You want people to do well. It's not the same as just going to the gym. So for us, it's like a family, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and even more intimate sometimes in a family, because like I'm close to like my brother and my sister. We're really close, like brother and sister. But at the same time, I've taken people who have never experienced anything to do with fighting, nurtured them all through a training camp, seen all their fears exposed on the night. After nurture that, take them through. They fight, they win or they lose. Then manage those emotions as well. You don't do that with many people outside of that setting.
It's a beautiful feeling, isn't it? Because you're helping people to achieve some kind of dream or like something on their bucket list, or, you know, like they want to fight. So to take them, especially from you, and to train them up and get them into a fight and then see them win and achieve or even lose, you know, and do well. It's like, you know, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for them, and it makes you feel a certain way, doesn't it? So I've got certain people that I've taken from 0 fights to having fights, and every single one means a lot to me, you know.
Yeah, I think more so.
RJ, for example, like taking him from just completely green at everything, not knowing what he was doing, to trying to teach him everything. And it was when he wasn't really even doing any of the classes or anything. He was just training with me. So to teach him everything and get him sparring and then get him fighting and stuff. And you get to find out a lot about people as well, because you think you know someone until, you know, and then you see them in a fight, then you really know what they're made of.
Yeah,
you know, so someone like RJ, it's like, oh, okay. Like sometimes RJ, I love him to death, but sometimes I've got to push him to do his cardio and stuff. But then when you see him in a fight, he's got absolutely zero quit in him, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get to find out about people, and it's nice to share it with them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, conversely, talking of more recent ones, Screener, who fought on that last show, was like, come from nothing, did some rugby, was 105 kilos. When he stepped on the scales, he weighed 82 kilos with no water cuts. It was same day weigh-in, trained his ass off. Even going into the fight, I was a bit worried in that I thought, right, I know he's going to do okay. I know his ground game's good. He's prepared as he can be. But you don't know what happens in people's heads. Weird things happen in people's heads, and you know it's easy to make an excuse for why it goes wrong. And then to see someone grind out 3 hard rounds and stay dominant every round, you're like, how is anybody else ever going to give back to me the same as what this person's just give to me? Like, it's only in the same situation you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I weren't fortunate enough that we had coaches in the same way that you and I are coaches now. We were very much, obviously I started with Trojan, but you knew the setup there. I won't go into setup there. You know the setup there. And then you were with Lee at the beginning, but obviously you were in Bristleys in Chippenham. So it was very much, we're floating all over the place until you and I got together. And then when you and I got together, we managed each other's training. It was just like, Paul, I need something hard this week. You set out all the training for me, and then you do the same. Conversely, it was just, yeah. So to go to what people have now from you and I, from Sweatbox, A3, etc., it's quite a contrast.
Yeah, the difference is nowadays people have got MMA coaches.
Yeah.
When I started, didn't really have an MMA coach. I just had some boxing with Nathan Champ, some wrestling with Darius from the kebab shop. Really, really good, man. He kicked my ass and taught me a lot, Darius. Darius. Obviously, like later on, Josh and Saeed and everyone. And but at the beginning, it's me and Greg Knapp just like fighting each other down David Lloyd every other night, and then doing cardio on the other nights. Like me and Greg done all right, just the two of us. But when you think about it, like we weren't coaches, we were just helping each other. Do you know what I mean? Coach. But Lee was really good. Lee taught me like a load. Lee was ahead of the game in UK MMA. So even when I was going up to Trojan and stuff, when I went to Lee knew about cutting water, knew about cutting weight, knew what weight I should fight at, like showed me so many things. And then kicked my ass on a daily basis as well. Or like 3 times a week he'd whip my ass. Not stood up, obviously, but on the floor, like he used to have a really good rubber guard. He was like really like ahead of the time. And that was good training. But until me and you got together and had a proper team, that's when like you get like a proper home with like Olympians. Yeah. There's somewhere to go, and then you've got one place to go. You know, we were just running around everywhere. People have got so lucky now. Imagine like starting MMA and then you just go to Sweatbox and everything's there. You know, you've got like a black belt. You've got loads of black belts. You've got like 12 black belts. You've got like you've got Josh, you've got like boxing, you've got the Thai boxing, you've got MMA coaches. You know, it's just like it's so much better now. But I liked it back then as well. You know, everything as its time, doesn't it?
Definitely.
You know, I put that video up. Someone shared it. FX3 shared it, and it was me from 12 years ago. And I was 7-0, and I was going to fight Emmanuel Fernandez, and I just beat Azidro, a black belt, a jiu-jitsu, and I was fighting Manu. And he just beat Alex Owen, like really handily. He just whooped Alex Owen. And I was thinking, right, this is... I got overconfident. I thought I could, like, he wouldn't be able to take me down and I'd smash him. But he just kicked the fuck out of my leg, man. That taught me a lesson on how to check leg kicks. Smashed my leg in. But just looking at it, I was 36. And I'd only been fighting for about a year and a half when I had that fight. And I was 7-0. And I was like 36. And I thought, I'm 48 now. So that's 12 years ago. In 12 years' time, I'm going to be 60.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'll be 60. In that time again, I'm going to be 60.
Yeah, for you to start at the age that I'm sort of at now, I mean, okay, I've had like 15, 16 years of competing at this. So obviously my body probably feels a bit worse than what yours did at 36 then. But at the same time, for you to start at where I'm at now and then to have gone on and achieved what you did and so convincingly, and to know realistically, if you'd have started at 36 now, you'd have probably been a load better quicker than what you were. So like you were robbed a bit by time, and age robbed you a little bit. But
I don't see it like that, you know. I never think like that. The way I think is, if I was 36 now, I'd have to compete with how many more people now?
Yeah.
You know, so that's going to be really difficult. So I'm glad, like, the way I see it is there's a load of people my age that were into combat sports, and MMA come along and they go, oh, I'm too old now. And then they just missed the boat. And like, I was like, oh, fuck no, that's a good chance for me, because I'd always been boxing and I'd done judo, and I always liked the idea of just having just like a fight sport. Yeah. So when MMA came around, I was like all in. I was straight away. I was like, oh, I want to do this. This is all I want to do. This is amazing. It's what I've been fantasizing about since I was a little boy. Like at school, I can remember at school, man, we'd write down we'd be who's better out of a boxer or a kickboxer, and like we'd come out with all this stuff. And like I never thought it would actually happen, you know.
Well, yeah, you never had the internet and stuff back then to Google this stuff either.
When I started, I remember trying to, like, the internet was just starting, really, or just getting like a little bit more popular, and I had to find trying to find Kev O'Hagan's classes. And then I accidentally went to a combat jiu-jitsu class instead of an MMA class, and I had to stand around for an hour and a half with a rubber knife in my hand, pretending to mug someone. It's not really me. But then I started going to his MMA, and you know, it was difficult to find classes. It was really difficult, you know. But luckily for me and you, when you came back from the States after tough, wasn't it? I can remember chatting to you at Anger Management, and you came up and you were like, "Oh, why don't we just get together and start training properly?" And it's like, "Yeah, that's cool," you know, because it was just me and Greg, and then maybe some Pauline Croft or Paul Croft.
Yeah.
Pauline the Wet Dream Croft, and then you know, a few other people. But it was like when we got together Olympians, then we had that proper home. Like I put that picture up of me and you from 2010, and that already been training for a while. Do you know what I mean? And that was just it's crazy. Like how time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know? Yeah. It's just that was like a real turning point. For both of us, I think, because obviously I'd been lucky enough that I'd been trained with the Gracies in Brazil and American top team, and I'd been around lots of places in America and trained with these top teams. So I'm looking and I'm coming back to what I had, and I was like, we haven't got anything, and I didn't have anyone who I could grab and say, can you be an MMA coach and we do this? So it was literally a case of where I wasn't really working for me. It was a long time, like hour drive up to Trojan, drive home, drive up again on the night sometimes, just way too intense. And then when I saw you and was like, let's just do something together, it was just perfect, because you had that horrible ginger stubbornness where it was coming.
What's being ginger got to do with that, mate?
No, listen, that's a ginger trait. Every ginger person's got that. And you had that where you were just like, the training was always going to be really hard. It was going to be punishing. And then I had these bits from, well, in America, people do this. And I had some technical stuff to add with it, like my Thai from Thailand and that. So we put it together. And of course, because I'm always one who's like, oh, let's do this way. And then you're like, oh, let's try this way. I think it just worked really well.
Yeah, it did. We had a good system. We had a really good system. We had so many fighters. Remember Greg, like LJ Guy, John Maggs, like Nathan Champ. We've had like Pauline Croft. We had so many people in the gym. Like, and then we'd have people come down to train with us. Like Nad. I remember Nad. Remember where we had that picture and he was hiding behind?
Yeah.
So his head. Like we used to have Nad coming down, and we just we had loads of people coming over, didn't we?
Yeah, Lou Long, Tim Newman, Ronnie, Shane Mills.
It was nice. Tim Newman as well. I used to go over to Newport to spar with Tim. That was hard work, man. Tim was good. But yeah, it was always nice. It was weird. Like I always found it weird in the old days that to get good sparring, I'd travel if I had a featherweight fight coming up. Yeah. I travelled as well, so I'd go down to the Marine camp and spar with Stapes. Stapes would come up. I'd go over to Newport and spar with Tim, and like I'd get out and about to get good sparring. But it was always weird, like going to somewhere different, and then you've got a bit of a name and they've got a bit of a name, and then it's like, all right, and then you're like, yeah, let's go nice and light.
Yeah,
it's just about to kick off. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Some good sessions. Good sessions. It takes a little while. Of like, if someone new comes to your gym, there's always that little test in there, and then once you've sparred and got out your system a little bit, you can calm down and be matey. But there's always like a little bit like, oh, I can't lose this round. I've got to look good. You know what I mean? It's like used to be interested.
Yeah, I say to the guys now I coach, I'm like, listen, look, I came from a time where when we used to spar, people were getting knocked out and we were eating lumps. And I came from that time so that you don't have to. I now know, and we realised that is not the way to do things. Please listen when I say to you, take the power down, work on your timing, focus on this. Like we went through that because we didn't have a choice. That's how everyone sort of trained. Don't go through it as well. Learn from people. When Paul tells you to calm down and take the power out, and calm down. That's the advice that we've learned because we've lost brain cells helping each other get places.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you have to go through it a little bit. I think when you're starting, I think when you get to the level of me and you are at, then you can take your foot off the gas because you already know. You don't have to prove anything. You know what you can do. But sometimes I think at the beginning, not like we were, where we're like sparring like flat out every single day. Yeah. Not like that. I think you have to spar hard sometimes just to see what someone's made of and just to toughen them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I can sometimes you see people spar and you know straight away that they haven't got any bottle or they'll fold. And I've known loads of guys that were like very technical and good and stuff like that, and they had a bit of pressure on them. You could see them sort of wilt where they didn't really want it, you know. But sometimes I think you can build that a little bit, but it's either.
I think I was one of those guys. I think I built it a little bit. I think. I didn't have it at first. Then, of course, I was at Trojan and I was getting the granny beat at me by like heavyweights and Zelg and because I was of that unfortunate middleweight where I was in between Zelg and Ronnie, and then I'd have to spar with Adam Mills and people. So I'd get the granny beat at me and that toughened me up. But then I remember coming back after my knee surgery to first sparring session. You were teaching a class. Like it was the Olympians, but when I had Olympians in the back of that gym at Scott's.
Yeah.
I came back after the knee surgery and I was like, Paul, fucking hell, I don't feel right. And you were like, you're just gun shy, mate. You just had like 3 months off not being here. It'll come back. And I literally like left that night questioning. I was like, I've lost it. I don't want to be here anymore. And then all of a sudden you build it back up again and you're like the baptism of fire, you're back in.
Yeah. You get used to it. You can get used to it. But I've got two big brothers. You know, so and my eldest brother used to beat me up for eating the chocolate biscuits. I had a really sweet tooth, and he'd say like my mum would come. We didn't have lots of money. My mum would come back and she'd like maybe get one pack of chocolate biscuits, and then he'd say, "Don't eat those biscuits, Paul." And I'd be like, "No, I won't. You know, otherwise I'll beat the shit out of you." And I'd be like, "Oh no," and I'd eat the whole packet, knowing I was going to get my ass kicked for it. But I'd eat all the biscuits now. So that I reckon that toughened me up, just being the younger brother. They reckon a load of UFC fighters are the youngest of the family, and they get almost conditioned to having someone bigger and stronger beat them up, and then to the point where they just think, fuck it, it's not that bad.
You know? I mean, psychologically as well, like you've got, even if it's not physical, psychologically, I guess you're always bottom of the chain. You're always bottom of the pecking order. You've got a like craving to get up there.
Not me, no. That's like. I could already beat up my other bigger brother. So I was little, so he was a couple of years older. The one that was 8 years older was harder. But by the time I got older, I won't bother. But he used to come back with his mates and make me fight his friends. My eldest brother. They're all like really like mad Nor'westers. He'd come back and go, Paul thinks he can fight, and I'd have to fight all his mates. And I'd get him in stuff like that. So I was always like in front of everyone.
That's what you do at your MMA classes now to new people.
That's it. My dog wants to solo. This is my dog.
Bonnie.
They say that dogs look like their owners.
The white is definitely a trait.
The white and the hairy face. She's a lot like me, really. She's very aggressive. She's 10, but she's still young. Yeah, she's very aggressive. She'll go on for ages, this dog. She's like a terrier.
But young, miserable, aggressive, and don't want to do anything.
Tries to start fights in the park.
She is exactly you and a dog.
Yeah. But imagine though, like that, like I was saying about that video, that was 12 years ago. So in 12 years' time, I'm going to be 60. So I was thinking, like, I packed a lot into the last 12 years.
Yeah.
After that fight, it was 7-1 MMA, and then like that's 8. Well, I've had another 32 fights nearly.
Yeah.
You know? And I've done a lot in the last 12 years. I've grown a lot as a person. I've like found out about myself. I've done a lot of stuff. You know, it's like I was only like I said, I was only like a year and a half into my career at that point, and it's like it's weird looking back and seeing that. Like those FX3, those days as well, when you went to those shows, like they would get you to weigh in and then they would video you straight after for you to chat. So you'd be so weight drained. Like I'm watching that video and I clearly don't have any water in my body.
Yeah.
I'm skinny as anything. Like I've just cut weight, you know, and they would get you in. I remember they'd done that on Cage Rage, and David Donald got me in the back and I was fighting Brad Pickett. And he was saying I had to say I was bomb proof. Do you know? Yeah. He was going, oh yeah, because Brad's saying he's got bombs in his hands. I have to say, I had to turn around, look at the camera, and say it's bomb proof. Yeah. And I just cut weight. I couldn't get it right, and I didn't want to say it because it sounded stupid. I was trying to say my own thing, but he made me say it, and it's so embarrassing looking back, seeing that. So embarrassing.
Yeah, but at the same time, that it was embarrassing because Cage Rage was massive. Now people don't even know what Cage Rage is, so it was embarrassing for that tiny amount of time when Cage Rage was big, and then now.
Like in the old days, there was no lightweight division, let alone a featherweight or anything. There was no lightweight division in the UFC until you were in Tough, I think, around about that time. So there was definitely no featherweight division, and then there was no British fighters in the UFC. There was Bisping had gone over, and then you went over, and then that other guy as well, the guy that fought Bisping a few times.
Ross Poynton.
Ross Poynton was over.
I was the first British lightweight to ever compete in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. So that's just like there was no UFC over here either. There had been one when Lee Remedios was on there. It's like 38 and a half or something. But there's no UFC. So the Cage Rage was the big show in the UK. And none of the fighters were on the UFC apart from...
a feeder. Like, they were a feeder. So a lot of Cage Warriors fighters go off to UFC. It wasn't like that for Cage Rage. Cage Rage was actually a feeder show. Like, they would get people to fight big name people. Like Anderson, they specifically told Anderson to go and fight on Cage Rage. Watched him a couple of times. Boom, signed him off to the back. They literally were speaking to Dave and feeding them.
Belfort. Yeah. They had everyone on there, didn't they?
Everyone.
Like if you looked at the people that fought on Cage Rage, there's so many people. I remember Fedor being there one time just to have pictures taken. Yeah. You know, they used to bring in some really, really good guys. So Cage Rage was really big in the day. And I remember going up there, and it was at Birmingham NEC. It was fucking massive. Like it was like and David would look after you really well. You know that from Dominican and stuff.
Yeah.
After you so well, so there'd be no like cost cutting or anything. It'd be you'd be up there on a Thursday night for the Friday weigh-in. It'd be the Hilton. It'd be like it'd be plush. It'd be really nice. Yeah. It'd be well looked after, man. It was a really good showcase, Rage. It's a shame. It was a shame when it went down. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And then but then with Ultimate Impact, Dave tried his best, and even then we got really well looked after. Canary Wharf, we'd be straight in a hotel in Canary Wharf. Really nice place. So he still had it a bit then, but it's just once that had gone down, other shows saw their opportunity, and other shows did well. Then of course you went from having 2 or 3 shows in the UK to having 300 shows almost overnight.
Yeah.
It just kills it. Like people are willing to fight as the main event on a show for 300 quid.
Yeah.
The caliber of fighter over everything. It's it was gutting, but when you fought on Cage Rage, it was at the pinnacle. It was at the top. That was
yeah. It's big. Europe. Yeah, it was. It was huge. Huge. It was on Sky Sports Live as well.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. It was good. I like Cage Rage. Like those times, it's when the UFC came to the UK, and I think there was a Cage Rage and there was a UFC like on the same night.
Yeah.
Cage Rage tried to go up against them, and everyone went to the UFC.
Yeah.
Because UFC's like what all the fans know, isn't it? So they all went to the UFC.
And the thing is as well, you're talking of years ago, long enough that the UFC did something like 11,000 spectators. Well, to get 11,000 people to go anywhere near an MMA show is all of the MMA fans, and plus they're taking their friends or their missus or their brother who aren't even into it. So you're not then going to be able to sell 2,000 tickets for another show.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Now, but where you look at where it is now and the amount of people who are on the roster and, the amount of people from the UK or fighting in the UFC and getting to the point where they're competing at that top level, it's massive, like absolutely massive. But when people used to say to me years ago, like, this sport's going to be, do you think this sport's going to be massive? Do you think, I did, but I don't think I expected it to be how it is now it's so mainstream that, you'll hear questions about on the chase and stuff now. It's just, I find that crazy that we're at the level where this is where we're at now, and such, because it feels like a blink of an eye to me. It feels like the blink of an eye that you and I were like training and making stuff up to now being here where it's the largest sport in the world. It's nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, isn't it, how it's developed? It's nuts, man.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. But hey, so for me, I think looking at your career, I think you had it right in that you were all in, balls deep. This is me, and you were lucky that you benefited from age as well. You realised time went on your side. Also, you were like, right, if I'm gonna fucking do this, I'm gonna do it properly, and you really went balls deep. And then someone like myself, who, whenever I had a fight, I was always all in, and I'd always train. I always went in when I fought what's his name, Mamor Fall for the title. Yeah. I knew I could do 5-minute rounds like any UFC guy. I knew I was fit enough. I know I'd say to you, right, Paul, you can do my fitness today. And I knew I'd just get through whatever. And I remember it being the running machine getting so easy. You'd put me on the bike to do horrible little circuits and stuff to mix it up. And I just knew, like, right, this is it. I'm going to be. But in between that, I'd go off skydiving, or I'd go off paragliding, or I'd go doing this, and I'd dabble a bit here, and I wouldn't really, as where you were like, this is it, boom, I know I'm on a short window, I'm locked in, I'm fully, and part of me regrets that I wasn't like that,
Yeah, I wasn't, and I was like completely committed, but back in that day when I fought Manuel Fernandez, I was still drinking. I'd drink the night before I fought. I'd have a couple of pints. It was mental. Thinking it'd help me sleep, and and the night before the weigh-in as well to help me cut weight. I'd have some wine. Crazy, man. Crazy. It used to work all right. But the sport's come a long way. Sport's come a long, long way. It's like so many people. Like if you go to like even at the last race, like how many people did you have fighting at the last race? And we had a couple of people fighting. Yeah, and it's just like so many.
5, 3. Yeah.
It used to be like if someone got in the cage, it would be like a really big deal. Now we got fucking I don't know. We must have so many people that have fought, especially at amateur.
Between you and I, the people who you and I have coached to fight from nothing all the way up through between us, we must be it got to be 150 people.
It's a lot. There's loads. Some of them I can't even remember. Like some people message me and like, oh shit, yeah, I remember you. But there's loads, isn't it? You get so many people through the door. But it's nice. It's obviously some of them will stick in your mind forever. Like if you really help someone out, like Toby. I know Toby speaks to you as well. Yeah. Toby Meach, and I was chatting to him the other day, and he's found a nice little gym over in Australia, and he's doing well. That's another one to take Toby from nothing. What did he end up like 3-1 as an amateur and 2-0 as a pro?
Something like that. Yeah. At 17 to come to us at 17. No experience, nothing. A meek little kid who wouldn't say boo to a goose, and then to see him go on to be in one of the biggest prospects we've ever had between us, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts to for someone like that to just appear in your life, and then we're still in contact now.
Yeah, it is. It's nice, isn't it? Because you make a massive impact. We made a big impact on his life, and we made him we helped him develop into the person he is now. So I really like Toby, and nowadays it's quite tough in the gym because you develop some of these fighters as well. But do you know Minnie's leaving? He's going to Birmingham.
Is he?
Yeah, he got a job in Birmingham. So I love Minnie to death. Such a nice guy, but then he's leaving. So then you get these guys that are you think, oh, they've got a real future, and then they go away somewhere. It's like Luke Labego, he went to Hong Kong. Sammy went over to Copenhagen. We've lost some fighters to traveling and stuff.
Yeah. So for me, LJ was one of the biggest losses to have a kid. Like having a kid and like there's not. I still think probably she's probably the toughest of any fighter I've ever trained. Yeah. When she fought that girl in Sweden, that kickboxer girl, and just got her face smashed in, no signs of quitting, nose broken, came back in. What's that, mate?
Lena Landsberg.
Yeah, Lena Landsberg, that's it. And then I like reset her nose at the end of the first, and I was like, don't blow your nose for the rest of the fight. Just try and make sure your eyes stay open. I'll take care of your nose. Try to breathe out your mouth. And to see her, like, I still think she's probably one of the toughest people I've ever coached.
Yeah, and I think it's been that, like, if you're in the gym and you're always the nail, do you know what I mean? Because you've got to spar with Guy, you, me, Toby. You know what I mean? And then she's probably like getting her ass kicked every single day, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know,
and so much to prove every time she fights. So much to prove to herself, to all the guys in the gym and stuff. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, a complete pain in the ass and a prima donna, but
remember who has he fought? That Kerry Hughes?
Yeah.
On UCMMA, and she had her nose broke then, and I was in the back with her, and the doctor had to like fix her nose because it was broken really bad. She was like, "Oh fuck, man, that looks horrendous." And but yeah, she was really good, man, and it's a shame like she didn't carry on, but she had 2 really good wins back to back to finish. She beat 2 like people that were in the judo, the British judo squad, and she'd done them both in a round. Like I think maybe one with a TKO and had to cheat the armbar. One. She TKO'd the one up in Golden Ticket.
Yeah.
And Jane something, I think. And then she
there for that fight. I was away, I was in America.
She beat someone on Raged.
Yeah.
Can't remember her name, like Delaney. Something Emma Delaney?
Emma Delaney. Yeah, Emma Delaney. Yeah. I don't know if she beat her. Part of me thinks rear naked choke, but I don't know.
It might be TKO as well. I think it's 2 TKOs. But yeah, she was really good, LJ. Really, really good. Guy was really good as well, man. Guy was like fucking awesome. You know? He had that one bad loss, which I think sucked that bad. He's like, oh fuck, do I really need to do this?
And also, like, when your whole life revolves around sport, you're a strength and conditioning coach to professional athletes. Plus, then you're leaving a sport every day to know you then got to go and do your sport, getting punched, getting kicked. Then also, because he loved jiu-jitsu so much as well and was so good at jiu-jitsu, I think he just found in jiu-jitsu something that he could slot in with his lifestyle and knocking him out of life.
Yeah, without taking lots of damage as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The guy was really good. Chris Ogden was always quality.
Yeah. Chris Ogden, like a brilliant fighter, but Chris Ogden's such a better training partner than he is a fighter, because Chris is one of those guys who, like, Chris would never want to lose, but sometimes he'd fight and he's not even caring about the fight. But whenever you got a fight coming up, I need someone. Chris is there. He'll be your training partner. He'll be there for you. He'll meet you at 6 a.m. if you need to do it at 6 a.m. Brilliant partner. Great in the gym. But yeah, I think that was just sometimes he'd be fighting just because, like, you know those times where you're like well up for fighting and then you get a fight and you're like, actually, I just can't be fucked with it. I just can't. Like,
yeah. Sometimes the idea of it is more attractive than the reality, isn't it?
When you factor in work and stuff.
Now I've got a diet. Now I've got to train. And he has to diet all the time, doesn't he, to make 77? Yeah, he's a big lump as well.
And works a lot.
Chris, I thought Chris was done so well at the end of his career. Like, I know he lost his last fight, but he lost it in style. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to lose a fight, like, go out like that. Do you know what I mean? He was very close to winning. His fight before he won. That was probably his best ever performance when he won that triangle. No, not the one before that. Yeah. And that Lithuanian guy that come over from Ireland.
Yeah,
he's real quality, Chris. I like Chris.
Yeah.
It shows you, like, all the people we come up with when they've all retired. Do you know what I mean? You're talking about people.
I think about this all the time. I think, like, so the amount of people who we see, they fight, they retire, boom, they're gone. You see, in a minute, it's just still going to be you and I talking to people who are 18 and 19. There was this guy years ago. We'll just be the two who are still hanging on.
Yeah. But I like. I still think like someone asked me to fight them on the last Raged. This guy came up there, Brian Cutting, who was after Michael Cutting. I was after a fight with him for like 2 years. I was like, because he's got a win over Nathaniel Wood from the UFC, and he fought that is it Jamie Gallagher, the one that's on Bellator, the sort of fake Conor McGregor. He's fought on Bellator and he's beat some good guys, and he came over and asked me, but I'd been asking him for 2 years, and he asked me if I fight him. I just said no, I'm retired. But then I thought about it. I was thinking, I wouldn't mind doing that, but then I think, fucking just don't do it. Like just relax. What's the point, you know? And going out on that. I mean, in the last year, if you think it's April now, isn't it? So last May is when I dislocated my elbow, and I had to make 68 kilos, and it's like to make that weight was horrific. You know, to get down, and it wasn't the weight cut; it was just the dieting beforehand, the dieting for weeks and weeks, just really took it out of me, and then had the fight, and it went pear-shaped. But sometimes, you know, when you go into a fight and you're just like, what am I doing this for? Yeah. Like, I don't really need to do this. Okay, just get it done. And then you fuck up. Fair play to him, like he broke my arm. And then for the next one, I was so motivated for that last fight. You know, I was so motivated. And then I fought at a bigger weight as well. So I felt really, really good. I didn't have to diet so hard. It felt amazing. And then it shows you how your mind is everything, isn't it? The way you think going into a fight. Some fights, if you're not really, like if you underestimate your opponent, or you're not really up for it, and then the next time you're really, really up for something, you can just go through someone. You know, I can remember when you fought that Alexi Roberts.
Yeah.
Jersey, and I was like, that's a tough fight, and you were like, no, I'm gonna fucking smash him, and then you just went right through him, like in about 30 seconds or a minute or something like that, you know. And it's sometimes, I think, if you've got the confidence and you really want it, then you're going to perform really well. And I don't know, after having so many fights of it, if I could get that like up for it. You know, I think coming off a defeat, it's easy to be up for something, isn't it? If you've lost and you've got something to prove, then it's easy. But
also, what after? What, like, so you fight Michael Brian Cutting? Like, it's hard to get up for a fight if you know there's nothing for it afterwards. So you could get up from Michael Brian Cutting if it was an eliminator to do this, or if it's to win 20 grand, winner takes all, you're going to be well up for it. But if you're fighting him just because you feel like, I can actually still do that, the only motivation you will have is the fact of, actually, I do want to do this. That's it. There's nothing, there's no goal, there's no end to it. It's just to put another mark in another column.
When I think about it, like really think about it, I just think it's not worth it. Yeah. You know, I don't think I've got it in me to get up for something like that again when I don't have to. Yeah. Like if there was something really meaningful, like someone broke into my house, or if someone offered me £1 million, or there was something amazing, I could probably motivate myself. But to motivate myself to do something like that, it's not, you know, I can't. It's hard, isn't it, to keep on going back up to the top of the mountain? Like, you think, how many times can you do that? Do you know what I mean? Because people don't realize when you fight how emotional it is, and how stressful, and like all the thoughts go through your head, and then how you've really got to get yourself to be at your absolute best and try your absolute hardest and fight for your life almost. You know what I mean? Like, you're fighting as hard as you possibly can. Yeah. To do that for like lots and lots of times is exhausting, isn't it? It's like, well, what's the fucking point? I can't be asked.
Yeah, well, especially as well when UK MMA hasn't moved on that much, in that you never know if your opponent's even going to fucking show up. You never know if the show's going to go ahead. You never know what, like, it's not like when you fight in the UFC. I say this to people a lot, like, listen, if the UFC offered me a contract tomorrow, I'll sign instantly, and I'll do a contract in the UFC instantly. Not for the fame of being in the UFC, and none of that shit. You can keep all that bollocks, but because I know I'm going to get to fight people on a basis where it's the highest level. I get to test myself at the highest level. All the work I've done for my career is put into practice. But there's no one else really who I could sign and get the same treatment. Even if I was to sign with Cage Warriors, unless Cage Warriors are going to offer me 3 guaranteed fights in a year, one of them to be one of the top guys in the category, I don't want it. Like, you're not. What are you going to offer me? You're going to offer me money that I was earning 5 years ago,
Yeah.
To fight people who may or may not pull out. Even if they don't, you might offer me a fight, then I don't get to fight again for 8 months. That's no good for me. That's not where I'm at, you know. So for someone like yourself as well, like what's the motivation to be involved in that? There is none. There is no you've been way bigger. You've achieved bigger things already than to fight someone just for the sake of, well, I got nothing else better to do.
Yes, I listened to this really good podcast of it's on the BBC about boxers retiring.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was. It was Barry McGuigan actually, and he was saying that like boxing's like a class A drug.
Yeah.
That the emotion you get when you fight and you win is addictive, isn't it? It's like crack cocaine. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I can't think. There's not many things in life that are better than you after the referee's just dragged you off of someone, or you've submitted someone. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Knocked someone out and they pull you off. And it's almost like a massive relief, as well as you feel like you're really glorious. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's so many emotions in one. If you could bottle that, you know, it's like ecstasy, isn't it? It's like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what people chase, as well as people like it to have a structure. You know what I mean? When you've been doing this for a long time, you like that structure. You get up, you know you're going to train twice. And you've got a purpose as well, because you're always looking for this goal. So you're a fight or your weight or strength and conditioning goals or whatever it is, you know. You've always got these goals in front of you. So you got that purpose, you got that structure, and it's exciting as well. It's like I always feel like I was on a mission. Do you know what I mean? Or I was in. I know I look like I'm in Lord of the Rings, but I felt like I was like in Lord of the Rings, and I was like going to do something. Do you know what I mean? I was like it was like a proper purpose.
Yeah.
So you'd be training hard for that, and I would train my bollocks off, like in my cardio. My cardio would be through the roof all the time. I'd be trained so hard. And then you see people now, like someone like Nad. Like Nad trains like fucking, it's even more. You know what I mean? He's like, because I was always intelligent with my training. I wasn't just doing loads of stupid cardio. It was always measurable. You know, I listened, someone said, the other day I heard someone say, it's got to be measurable to be manageable. And that's the way I think with stuff like strength conditioning. You need to be able to measure stuff so you know you're improving. So, but these days it's even more like scientific. I know Nad does a lot of work on the watt bike, and then he calculates how much he's weighing to how many watts he's getting, and then he finds that his ideal weight to where he gets the most power ratio, and then it's about improving that ratio. You know, so. It's really breaking it down and measuring your cardio.
Yeah.
So you know when you're in really good shape. You're not just guessing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd always do those sprints, and I'd always have the same numbers, and then I'd have to get more repetition, so I knew exactly where I was. Yeah. But so I like that. Like if I didn't like to try and get on a treadmill now and do that type of stuff, you don't have the motivation. Like people say about discipline. If you're disciplined to do stuff, sometimes if you're motivated, then you'll have the discipline.
Yeah.
It's like at school. I didn't really at school. I wasn't really interested in subjects. I wasn't really interested in exams and stuff like that. So to motivate myself to work was always hard. And I went to university. I got a degree. I got a master's. And I done stuff. But to motivate myself to actually get ready for exams and stuff was always really, really difficult. I'd have to really push myself. But for fighting and that, it was easy. It's like I'd jump out of bed to do the hard work, you know.
Yeah, that's like people. So I say to fight because I still train. Obviously, I train 4 days a week. Every class I teach, I train at, and I'll do cardio at the beginning. Either those pad drills or I do these horrible Tabata exercise drills with sprawls and tuck jumps. And I make sure I win every round, no matter who is in that gym with me. When Chris was a week out from his fight, I made sure I beat him on every single round. I got more kicks, or I got more sprawls, and I just I can do this. I can still push, and then I'll get. What I miss for me, because the cardio is horrible, but I miss that bit on that dread when you're driving to the gym to do your cardio. The dread. Yeah. That you hated it, and then you'd start the treadmill running, and I'll do a 5-minute jog first to warm up, and I started running, and I'm almost nervous, thinking for fuck's sake, and then
that incline up.
Yeah, and then I put the incline up, and then I get that bit in my head. And I'm like, if you're gonna fucking start, you don't stop. Well, the moment you fucking start, if you're gonna stop, stop now. Don't you get halfway and stop. You fucking if you start, and I just that would be the voice. People are like, oh, do you have any music on? I'm like, no, I can't have music. I can music would distract me so much. I've got to have my own brain telling me like, yeah, your fucking legs hurt. Yeah, of course your fucking legs hurt. But this is where he's gonna stop. This is where you're gonna not. Let your fucking leg hurt. Let it fall off if it needs to, but you don't stop. And just be talking to myself, and I miss that. I miss that mental, that bit where I have to go deep in my own head and be like, "Fuck you, you're not quitting, or you're a quitter." And I miss having a reason to do that, just because I can still go and do it at the gym. But if I want to quit now, there's no consequences, But I miss having that reason to push myself physically and mentally further. And then I know, because I do them every 2 days when I've got a fight coming up, I know if that's Tuesday, Wednesday I get to do sparring, and then Thursday I have the same discussion on the way to the gym and the same conversation once the treadmill starts.
It's crazy though, isn't it? That when you start hitting all those sprints and that, your sparring gets a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, loads easier.
Suddenly, you like sparring becomes fun.
Yeah.
So much energy, and like, do you remember we would like have we do pressure rounds, and when you were in shape, or me or you, we'd have a fresh person every round, and by the end of the round, you'd be fresher than that fresh person.
Yeah, I remember you. I'd never forget. You messaged me when, "Where's you got a hard session tonight?" I've invited Lee and the guys over. I've told them you've been head kicking people in your last round of sparring, and they came over. They came over, and I had a hard day, and I hadn't ate much.
Yeah.
Completely fucked it. Was completely flat for the whole session, and Lee was like, I think he needs to do more cardio. We were like, no, honestly, on Tuesday, they're kicking people.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Like, sometimes you need to take a day off as well. That's the thing. That's the thing.
You have to manage so much. Like, you're managing so much nutrition. And this is the thing, when you're doing it yourself and you haven't got a coach or a nutritionist, you're managing so much of your own training. You're not thinking about, actually, fuck, I got spar. I should have ate 2 hours ago and got carbs in me, or whatever the scenario may be.
Yeah. Man, I'd always have a pancake.
Yeah.
Pancake and some Lucozade.
Lucozade, I remember a pancake and Lucozade.
That'd be all right. We got some questions off of Facebook as well, haven't we?
Yeah, do you want me to go through them?
Yeah, go on.
Right. Let's do a couple from Facebook, then we'll do a couple from Instagram.
Yeah.
Right, so let's have a look what we got first. So Paul Buddington said, for both of you guys, what's the hardest fight you've had and why? Also, how do you combat nerves and fear when building up to a fight?
What's your hardest fight?
Hardest fight was, I don't really know. I mean, hardest fight as in what? Like.
That's the thing. What do you consider a hard fight?
Yeah, exactly. My hardest fight I ever had was when I fought Marty Swindles and I had a water infection. I didn't know, cut weight.
Yeah.
And couldn't rehydrate properly. I was rehydrating and no weight was going back on me, and I had pains. And it turned out, so then when I fought him when it came out for the second, I was breathing and I had all that wet iron metallic sensation in my neck and in my mouth. I was like, something's not right. I feel fucking wankered, and I was absolutely drained. That was really hard because I physically felt like I can't do anything. I'm screwed. But at the same time, it wasn't a hard fight. It was like, technically, it shouldn't have been a hard fight,
Yeah. That one I had with John Cullen was hard.
Oh, that fight.
3 rounds, and then we done another one. That was hard. Yeah. I've had so many hard fights, man. The fight with Brad Pickett was hard. Yeah. The fight with
what's his name? Sweden.
Andy was tough. Akira was tough.
Akira, yes.
Svensson was a weird one. Wasn't that hard. I've had every fight's a bit hard, isn't it? Fernando was hard when he kicked me in the leg and done my leg, and that was hard.
Yeah.
There's too many in there. They're all hard, really. But probably the one that was really tough was that John Cullen one. Yeah. And so it went 3 rounds. It was a draw, and then he started asking for a 4th round, and all the crowd started cheering for it. And I couldn't say no, so I done. And I wasn't well for that fight either. I was coughing and stuff, but it didn't really have any impact on the fight because I stopped coughing as soon as I started fighting. But that was just like fuck. That was a slog. That was a cardio slog. That was. And you know when you go all in wrestling to start with,
yeah,
just go. You have to carry on wrestling for the whole fight because you burn your arms out and stuff. So I can remember just all my muscles were exhausted where I was wrestling them easy, and then he would kick my ass when we stood back up again.
And then you don't go out for the third round thinking, oh, I better save some in case there's a fourth. You go out in the third round thinking I need to balls deep here.
Yeah. That was hard. But all of them are hard. Just getting in there is hard, isn't it? And how do I cook? Like in terms of nerves and stuff, I used to get really, really nervous. I don't think nerves are a bad thing. I think you need nerves. And then for that last one I just had, I just embraced feeling like that. Like I almost like I was getting on a roller coaster. So I thought, right, here we go. You know, I would always be like that a little bit anyway. I'd get really nervous in the weeks before, but then when my music kicked in, I'd always have a little giggle to myself and think, oh, fucking hell, here we go. Like, what are we doing? And then I'd always, you know, I start enjoying it and start enjoying that sensation of shit in my...
For you, for me, coaching you on the night and managing your fear, I would know, like I'll know by your demeanor and stuff where about you are emotionally as the fight's getting closer. And I knew there's a certain point where you don't need to hit anything anymore. You just need to go and walk. And you would walk just around the up and down or around the warm-up mat. You'd walk around that maybe 10 minutes or so. You'd just walk backwards and forwards or a little bit. And then you'd be like, oh, put your hands up a little second. And put the hands up. You'd hit them 2 or 3 times. Then you just walk again. And, and I knew then, like, right, this is the time I leave you alone. No matter what. If you call me to do something, we'll do it. I leave you alone. And then as we're walking to the cage, as we get there, put hands on your shoulders or whatever, and then you like, listen, just fucking be prepared for a hard fight. You're going to get it. It's going to be horrible, but we got the work done for 3 rounds. And that was it. Yeah. Just go. I know, because I know there's nothing. You're at the point now. You're at the point where there's no going back. I know you're going to be wishing that a microlight crashes through the ceiling and the event gets called off, because that's how people get. They're like, oh, it'd be nice if it got cancelled now and I still got paid. But at the same time, I knew, I could tell by looking at you, like, he's ready. Like, he's not, like, that little nervous energy that looks like he's got, that means he's ready. The moment the fight starts now, because you can't be more ready than that. There's no, how can you be any more ready than that?
Yeah. Some people, they overcook it, don't they? And, there's just enough work. There's just enough work to get you ready. Obviously go anaerobic, warm up, but don't warm up too much. Save some. Just get nice and loose, get a sweat on, and get your head right, innit? Get ready. Like, be prepared for a war.
For me,
no fucking backing down.
Yeah, I think for me, I internalized a lot of mine so much that I didn't I've never felt like nervous, or maybe I handle nerves differently. But I think maybe from base jumping, from like traveling to do the Ultimate Fighter, not knowing who I'm gonna fight, not having a coach with me, not having any of these things. You have to, when I got on the plane to board there, you have to sort of say to, well, this is it. Whoever it is who it is. That's who I'm fighting. Like, there's no, because you don't even know who's in the show or anything. You know, you just, well, that's what. So then, part of me was a few fights I've had. Like Kurt Warburton was one. Like, I sort of expected there to be a feeling. I've been promoted on the day to main event. And I go out there, Nad's with me, Ross Dunsford's with me, and my dad's with me. I felt brilliant, the best shape I could have been in. Everything was good. And they're like, you got your game plan? Yeah, I knew my game plan. He's not going to want it rough. I'm going to hit him so hard with a jab, he's going to think, oh, fucking hell, it's going to be a long night. And then, because I didn't have any nervous energy, because I didn't have any tension, I focused so much on what I was going to do that I did it, even though he was out of position, even though the timing wasn't right, even though I'd got, which I guess in a way is nerves. That was nerves. I got so caught up in my game plan. That must have been a form of nerves. And I didn't realise it. And by the time I've made my mistake, he's on me. He's finishing me.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? You got to get that composure right. You know? You got to pick your times when you do stuff. But
and also I think, like, from talking, obviously I've spent a lot of my career around people like you, James Thompson, and like big name guys as well. And I just think that what maybe I assumed that bit where you think like, oh fuck now, man, I wish I didn't have to do this tonight. Fuck me. Imagine if this happened and I got paid for doing nothing. Everyone goes through that. Everyone thinks like that. Those thoughts enter everyone's head. And I thought maybe when they've happened to me, maybe I've said, you shouldn't be having thoughts like this. And I've dismissed them so much that I've tried to block it out, even though it's there, maybe, you know, like, or internalize it so much.
Everyone's different, aren't they? Like Greg Knapp didn't used to get nervous. He used to be like really fucking cool and calm. And he's just like, just the way he was, I suppose. Me, I would always get nervous because I would just dread losing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to fucking lose. I want to win that bad. So that's where I think my anxiety would come from. But I used to make it work for me as well. You know, I'd go in and I'd be massively intense when I got in there. Like, you know, I'd be there for like to fight to the end. You know. But yeah. So that's, I don't know. My hardest fight is difficult, isn't it? But John Cullen was a tough fight. That was our fight. But everyone shouting ginger slurs at me. And
in Scotland, to be getting ginger slurs in Scotland.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, right. So, Ollie Sheeran said, "Who would win in a fight between the you of today versus the you of 10 years ago?" I know that for me. I know easily the me of now would kill the me of 10 years ago. But I think my wrestling's better, my jiu-jitsu's better, my boxing's better. Also, I have this bit about me now that I never used to maybe have, where I realise I'm a bit older and every fight is my last chance to win, maybe, you know? I take that every time I fight now is like when I fought that Lawrence and people are saying, just wrestle with him. Like, you know your wrestling's going to be better than just wrestle with him. So I'm going to knock him out. People are like, just wrestle with him. I'm going to fucking knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. Because I'm thinking, like, this might be my last chance to knock someone out. And then we went into the fight. I tried to wrestle with him and he was really strong. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have to knock him out.
Yeah. Well, when necessity fucking helps you sometimes, doesn't it?
Definitely.
You know, when you try and wrestle with someone and you just think, oh, fuck me, that's going to be exhausting trying to wrestle with them. And you think, fuck it, I'm going to just punch. Yeah. And sometimes it's like, it works for you, doesn't it? You know, that fight against, like, obviously I was being taken to the hospital to have my arm like fucking put back into place. I watched it back on YouTube and stuff, and I thought that was one of your best performances, you know, it's a beautiful fight. And the way you finished it, like 2 little right hands and then a fucking nice high left kick. Absolutely amazing. What a way to finish a fight, man. And that Lawrence is no joke. He's like a serious guy. He's got good skills. He has proper power. He's like jacked. He's strong. He's good everywhere. Do you know what I mean? I seen him ages ago on Race hit someone with a tornado kick, and I was like, fuck me. He looks decent. You know, he looks good. And he's a nice guy as well.
From a good camp, he's not getting easy rounds or anything. He's from a good camp. So, I loved my performance. It went well, but part of me was like, man, I was ready to do this for 3 rounds. Let's stand, let's go. Like, I'm ready to. I thought you were going to come at me. Let's fight. Come on, So part of me was like that, but not as soon as I knocked him out. I was like, oh yes, thank God for that. But part of me was like, fuck, man, I need to fight tomorrow because I need to get that other bit out of me where I want someone to punch me in the face and I want to grind, because I want to have a fight where we come to the middle, we smile at each other, and we just plow each other, just go. Let's just throw shots at each other. But of course, when the fight starts, I look for a double leg or something. But
yeah, of course, because you're not an idiot.
Yeah.
In your head, you think you want to just punch each other in the face, but really, you're not that daft, and you want to win and take as minimal damage as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't mind getting hit, but I don't want to get fucked up in a fight. I want to take as little damage as I possibly can. Yeah. You know. But yeah, I think that's one of your best performances in terms of a total performance. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of like when that Alexi Roberts and Mammerfall and stuff. Mammerfall was probably one of your best ones as well. Where you look like a complete MMA fighter. You have to strike, you have to wrestle, you have to get submission. Against Lawrence Tracy, it was like the grind to take him down. I reckon you could have taken him down, but it would have been exhausting. It would have been hard. It would have made it like a wrestling match, and it would have changed the fight. So sometimes you just bail out of that and think, well, I'm just going to strike. That's what I was like with that Akira, because I didn't really want to wrestle him because he was a real good wrestler. So I thought, let's fucking test this striking. And I thought against Lawrence Tracy, that was it's a beautiful fight, man. It's really cool ending. He done really well. He got lots of stuff off. You got lots of stuff off, and then like like you always say, it doesn't matter how you start. It all matters how you finish. You know. Yeah. And not that you had a bad start. You had a great start, but it's just that the finish was just like you can't get better than kicking someone in the head. Like I've never won by head kick knockout. You and Bernie have got 2 nice fucking head kicks. Bernie's is one beautiful shot, but yours has to take the top honors because you're fighting someone that's legit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a real hard fight against someone that's really good. Those type of victories mean a lot. I think that was a really good win. Thought Chris was going to do the same thing with him as well, man. Chris's fight was good. Just shows you, it's just like it's chaos, isn't it? It's chaos in there, and anything can happen. You know,
it shows you how tough Lawrence Tracy is as well because he took some fucking. I mean, I know Chris hits really hard.
Bang. Yeah.
So, and at the end of those long, horrible shots, and I specifically worked a specific shot where you step back if you feel the cage, step off to the right, and he landed it. And I was like,
maybe 3 or 4 times, didn't it?
Yeah, and I was like, fucking hell, knock him out. He can't take this. And
he got dragged into a close quarter punching exchange, didn't he?
Yeah.
Against the cage, where he should have cut the angle and got. But it's easy saying what he should have done. Do you know what I mean? Like you told me what I should have done after I got knocked out a couple of times. I know, like we all should have done that, but sometimes we fuck up, don't we? It's difficult because the guy you're fighting is skillful as well, and they're not messing about. They're trying to take your head off.
Like I said to Lawrence in that fight, like that was your best performance because. Listen, you got outstruck because Chris has got better boxing than you. You got outstruck. He's longer than you. He's got better boxing than you. You got outstruck, but you showed great head movement. You kept coming forward with composure. You didn't overcommit and get tagged with anything. You just got tagged because the guy's long. It showed a great side of Lawrence Tracy as well. So both of them came out of it really well. Chris just got tagged by a guy who can bang.
Yeah. See, sometimes people lose and they think, oh, I'm a loser. No, you're not a loser. Like if you go in and you perform like you're shit, you know, then you're still not a loser, but you had a shit performance. If you go in and you fight really well and you get beat, there's no shame. No. You know, if you go in and you might get clipped, you might get caught, anything. Well, anyone can get beat. Any single person can get beat. This is the
thing. In a minute, no one's going to give a fuck who you are or care about your fights. Like, look at Anderson Silva's one of the greatest people to ever do this sport. If you speak to people who are MMA fans now and you say about the greatest people ever, I bet he don't come in people's top 5, maybe even not in their top 10. And you're like, what about Anderson Silva or these people? And you're not even featured because your fight, the win and the loss is only going to mean something for a small period of time. What's going to mean something forever is the way that you performed mentally, physically, and whether you lose or not. When you can come out of that cage, you can say, fuck, man, the effort that I put in to get there, I landed all the shots that I wanted to land. Okay, I got caught by a guy who knocked me out, but I'm fighting another guy who's training to do that. Like, that's...
Yeah.
You know, like that's like playing football and never getting a goal scored against you. It's not going to happen.
Especially amateur fighters now, there's so much pressure on them. That last True Champion, so it had like 4 or 5 pro fights on, but it had like 5 or 6 amateur fights first. Some of the guys, a lot of the guys I'm training, just thinking like, I'm getting them their first amateur fight and they're fighting on the same platform as I'm fighting on. I've had like nearly 40 pro fights. So I know I'm nervous. Like, fuck me. Like, imagine making your debut on like a fucking show in front of... I know it's like only 500 people or whatever, but it's like a real good show, a really tight like atmosphere. Yeah. It's like, I'd be shitting myself.
Yeah.
I was shitting myself. I shit myself anyway when I'm going to fight. I feel nervous. But imagine making your first amateur fight. So there's so much pressure on the amateurs now, and they put everything into winning or losing. And it's you're learning. You're learning your craft. Like you're like...
So I said to Screener after that last fight, like it came out and said like you, I couldn't tell you how proud I am of you, and you understand. I'm like, well, you don't realise that what you've done there, because Ricky fought the same night, and of course Ricky banged his guy out again. I was like, what you don't understand is you probably have more fighting experience than Ricky, and Ricky's got like 5 fights. I was like, because listen, Ricky's got this God-given gift. He can knock people out. I mean, people haven't seen how good Ricky is on the ground and stuff as well. He's so very well-rounded. But I said, but what you've done tonight is you've tested yourself in areas which are still questions in Ricky's mind. You've done that all in your first fight. That's out the window. 3 hard rounds, and in that last round, when you're exhausted and you've got someone held against the fence, and you got to think, I've got to get this takedown to win this round. You've been through it. That's money in the bank that you can't acquire any other way, no matter sparring, whatever. You can't acquire it, but doing it in a fight, and you did it.
You need that ring time or cage time, don't you?
Definitely.
Getting that experience in. Like, you see the difference between pros and amateurs fighting. Like, the amateurs tend to rush out, don't they? And, like, just like give it everything for a minute, sort of thing. See the good pros will come out and they're measured, composed. Their hands are in the right place and moving well, and they're looking not to get hit. You know, like, don't let someone just tag me. Like, you're in and out. Like, touch them and don't get touched. The good ones, you know.
Yeah.
It's not always that easy, though, is it? Any more questions from the face?
So got let's have a look what we got here. I'm gonna go for the good ones, not the ones that are, not any from Jesse McCann.
We'll have a chat about Jesse McCann, though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jesse.
Yeah. So from like,
I'm gonna send you a picture he sent of me.
Yeah.
And what he done is, me and you are stood there, and he's
giving. He said to use it for the. I might use it for the cover photo for this.
You've come out better.
Yeah, because I got hair. Anytime I get hair, I've come out well better.
You come out better. Your hair looks amazing.
I'll use it for the cover for this podcast. He's fucking brilliant, Jesse. He's just. But if there was ever a fighter that needs to be managed and coached, that's your guy. Like, all the ability, can really be going far, can do well, but needs guidance, needs to be coaching. So, I think
needs to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
I think he because he's so good at striking, and he's a good wrestler as well, Jesse. And his jiu-jitsu's not bad, but he needs to do more, because I find it a little bit too easy to submit him sometimes. Yeah. But then before, when he's been really training hard, he's been hard to submit, and he's been like good. So he really just needs to sort of get where he was a couple of years ago, because he's had a rough couple of years, and he's gone off the rails a little bit. But when he gets back to training like his jiu-jitsu the way he was getting to a really good level. Jesse could go far, because he can box really well, he can Thai box, he can wrestle, and he knows jiu-jitsu. He just needs to practice it more. Yeah. You know, I like Jesse. He's got a nice style.
Yeah, look, he got an amazing start. He's got lots. He's tough as fuck. There's no quitting him. And I think the only thing I've said to him is, you need to do the stuff that you're not good at. Like, because you will, when you're sparring and stuff, you will have bits that you're really good at, and then you'll keep doing them. And that's the time when you need to work on the stuff you're really shit at, and let other people get the better of you if need be. Because you know in your head, like, the amount of times I've gone to training sessions and I've gone southpaw or something, and I'm getting my face filled in, and I'm like, and that person's going to, I put it on Wes tonight. Don't make it. I know I'm going southpaw for you, because I'm like, whatever. But you have to. It's got to be about you.
Like if you're rolling and you let someone get you in a triangle just to escape it.
Yeah.
Now sometimes you're going to get submitted, but if you always let people put you in a triangle so you can escape it, your triangle defense and escape is going to become very, very good.
Exactly.
You might have to get submitted a few times for it to start working really well. You might get submitted a load for it to start working well, but eventually it's going to benefit you. So you've got to put yourself in bad positions. You've got to try different things, something you're not that comfortable with, where you're going to be losing for a little bit, but just so you become comfortable with it, and then you make it like a strength. Yeah. Jesse was supposed to be fighting yesterday. Like, I got like a load of fighters are all supposed to be fighting yesterday, like Minnie, Grant for Sweatbox and A3. Anna was supposed to be fighting. RJ was supposed to be fighting. You know, and then like I had Anna's training. I got Anna like fitter than she'd ever been. She was like in the best shape ever. About 5 weeks ago, and I had a cardio on point and stuff. RJ was starting to look good. Minnie always looks good. Minnie's like fucking a class act. Minnie, so composed. He's got so much experience in boxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And he's so tall that he can keep it long. So he's just super composed and chilled. Like, I really like him. So we had so many people that were and Jesse was going to make his pro debut. Yeah. Which I think would have been a good fight, because Paddy's like a good striker, and we give him a notice because Paddy's never had notice to have a fight. So we're giving him 8 weeks, so that would have been a good matchup. I wanted RJ was going to fight Tyler James.
Yeah.
And I thought like I like Tyler. Tyler is like a friend, and I used to train him. Obviously, I like RJ, and he's a friend. So, but that fight for me as a matchmaker, I thought, oh, who's going to win that? That's going to be a really good fight.
Yeah.
So we're going to have so many good fights. It's such a shame, such a shame. But when we're back, when everything goes back to normal, whenever that's going to be, we'll get that show put on. We'll get all those fights put back on.
Definitely, and it's nice now that A3 guys are starting to Sweatbox guys are starting to come up to me and do training at my classes at A3, and then our guys are starting to come down to you and go to PEDs and stuff, and that's really nice now that we've got like this thing, because obviously we got a lot of guys who are active. You got guys to have that sparring and have it in a setting where people can watch over it. So it's really good. I think it's like people don't realize it's what people have got now in Bristol is perfect. They got everything with especially with a local show as well now. Everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Local show that's
best commentary
and show that's put on by us as well. Not put on by someone else that wants you doesn't want you on there, wants you to match you in a certain way, you know.
Exactly.
So
the agenda of the show is to get you good fights. That's the agenda of the show. There's no hidden agenda of we want our guy to beat up this guy, and it's just get you good fights.
50-50 fights, because that fight I had on there against that rad guy that I just fought in October, that was supposed to be a really hard fight. I thought it was going to be a really, really tough fight because he looked fucking good, man. Yeah. And then obviously Matty had a really hard fight. And that went, he made a few mistakes. So it would have been really good to see Matty make his second fight and get a win back. And I'm sure he would have as well. Matty's awesome. Matty trains. Do you know when you get someone? Most of the people I train, I've got to remind them to do the cardio. It's refreshing, and it gets someone.
Yeah. Matty's the same. Look, on a Sunday out with us, he'll literally do like 10 straight rounds. 5-minute rounds, 10 straight rounds grappling. Then like, Wes, got to put some gloves on and do some stuff. And you're like, fuck it. You just never, you would never have to question cardio. He could take a fight at any point.
Yeah. Same, Matt. But, and Big Ash as well. Be good to get Big Ash back. And what's the next question then?
Right. So, who have we got here? Trying to think of ones that are going to be applicable. If you weren't training MMA when you were youngsters, what other sport would you have done?
Me, it would have been something to do with fighting, for sure. Boxing, judo, something to do with fighting.
Yeah,
I like football. I played football for ages, played five-a-side for ages, but I like to have ownership of what's going on.
Yeah.
When you play football, sometimes you might have your best game ever and you lose because everyone else is lazy. Or you're lazy and everyone else is really good, So
and you're only ever playing low-level football. So you fought the highest level of MMA that you can ever fight. There's no you fought fights that are UFC level fights. So you fought the highest level of MMA that can possibly be fought, and you'd have been playing the lowest level of football, realistically.
Yeah, not the lowest level. We had a couple of divisions below us. We were all right.
Yeah. It's still pretty much the lowest level, though, right?
Yeah, lowest level. Yeah, we'll get.
I mean, a kick around on a Thursday up Stars is just still pretty low.
I've always done a bit of boxing, and done judo and stuff like that. I've always found it easy to do combat sports. I like combat sports. Yeah, so it'd be some kind of combat sport for sure.
Oh, but you don't like excuses as well, which is the thing. Like you don't like when our fighters make excuses, and I don't like that as well. Because me and you already know why they've lost. You don't need to tell me why I know why you've lost. We don't need your excuses. And conversely, you don't make excuses. Like the amount of times, like when you get knocked out, when we got knocked out in Scotland by what's his name, Fernandez. All right, you didn't know what happened, and I had to tell you 4 times. But afterwards, you're like. You just can't get fucking hit, and I got hit. And that's how you and I have both always been. There's no bullshit. There's no excuses. Yeah. I think that with a lot of fighters are like that. You don't make an excuse because you see through it. And
what's the point? You just like I was saying, FX3 put that fight up with me against Manny Fernandez. I got back last night and I showed it to Maya. I said, "Oh, look at this! This is 12 years ago." And then we watched it, and I lose, and she went, "Oh, you seem like really calm." I'm saying, "Well, like you take your chance, don't you? It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Like, if you roll the dice and you lose. If you start kicking off, you lose. You know, like it's not a good look, is it? You just like you got to take it.
And the only person that affects is you. This is the thing. Yeah. When you hold on to a loss and you make all these excuses, the only person that's affecting is you. It's not affecting the result. It's not affecting how people view the result. It's affecting you. So you're better off not making the excuses, accepting that you've lost, and saying, "Oh, I fucked up that. How do I not fuck up the next time?"
Yeah, and the thing is, when you fight people as well, you don't know what they're suffering with as well. Yeah. So you might have an excuse, but they might have like a broken hand. Yeah. And they've won, but they haven't mentioned their broken hand. So if you start saying, "Well, I had a bad leg," they say, "Well, my hand was broken. I still beat you." Do you know what I mean? So there's no point. Otherwise, you're going to go down. Like you know what it's like when you fight. If you fought tomorrow against someone, you don't know. You might be 80% of yourself. You might be 100% of yourself, or you might be 20% of yourself. But you don't know what they are as well. You don't know what's going on with their lives. So it's never really that objective, where it's never consistent, and it's just like fighter A's fighting B, and then A won't beat B, and he'll always beat him. It doesn't work like that. You know, you might have an off night, they might have the best. You might have your worst fight ever, they might have their best fight ever. Sometimes you might have the best fight you've ever had, and they might not fight very well, and you beat them. You know, you might not be able to do that again. You know, and it might work the other way around. So it's chaos, and it's in the moment. So all you can do is judge it on that night. When someone beats you, he was a better man that night. Yeah. I was the better man that night. You know, that's the way you've got to look at it, I think. And there's always excuses, always reasons. Like I've had plenty of fights where I've had bad weight cuts, or I've had an injury and stuff like that. But you still go ahead and you take it and you do it, and then you throw the dice. You know what I mean? You what lands, whatever lands. You know, you just have to take it on the chin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bad being a bad loser as well. You know, yeah. I know Conor McGregor talks a load of shit, but when he's talking about stuff like that, he's spot on where he's saying being humble and defeat and victory. Do you know what I mean? It's just like be consistent. You know, whether you win or lose, just carry on being the same.
Yeah, and for me, I can't carry with me the burden of a loss. There's no, like, if I make an excuse, I've got a burden with me now. I'm carrying something with me. Oh, but it was because of this. I have to carry that with me. If I have the fight's a big enough burden anyway. So when I have the fight, I want the fight to be over. So if I win or if I lose, once that fight's over, it's gone. I'm on to the next fight. I'm on to my next thing. If I make an excuse to why I lost, I'm carrying a bit of that with me the whole time, and it was a big enough burden the first time round.
You just get stuck in the past. Like I was saying, when I broke my arm or dislocated my elbow and stuff, rather than like beat myself up about it, I used it to motivate myself. Do you know what I mean? And then I was thinking like, okay, I had my arm dislocated and it's May, and then I'm going to fight again by the end of the year. And like a lot of people told me to retire then. They were like, you know, you should stop doing it. You might get hurt. Like even at home, even my daughter, like yourself, like everyone, even like when I said to Nat I was going to fight again, he went, "Oh, just get your arm better."
Yeah.
No, I'm fucking like that. Just almost lit like a fucking light under my ass, and I was like just ready, like I couldn't wait. I thought, no, fuck that, man. I'm gonna do something different. And then I can retire, and I can retire happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's another reason I don't think I want to carry on. Like if I did, there's always a risk that you end your career face down on the mat, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean that's like it's a predicament that I'm at the moment. In that people are, oh, you're going to fight again, and I'm really just not sure, because I would like to have a big fight, a good fight. Like I'd like it to be, you know, I'd like to get to the UFC, let's say, but I'd need probably at least 4 wins. One would have to be like for a title on Cage Wars or something, and then I'd probably maybe get a shot. But for me, I'm like, what? Who do I fight him for what? Like the Mario thing, when Mario said about fighting me, I'll fight Mario tomorrow. Like I'll fight him tomorrow, but what am I going to do? Fight him for £500 on Raged, where there's no TV screening. Nobody really gives a fuck who wins anyway. Like he's going to talk a load of shit, so he's going to try and sell the fight, but no one cares what he's got to say. So I'm like, what's the, like, I think I'll fucking walk through him. So why am I going to, like, I'm like, there's got to be something in it for me, because I understand, like, I'm going to be lucky to get out of this without brain damage anyway. Plus, if Mario hits me on the chin, he might knock me fucking out. So, you know, like, is that the fight that I want to go out on? I don't know. I always say I'm not retired because if someone offers me a really big fight, if I get offered a fight in the Dominican Republic again, I'm gone. If I get offered a fight in Brazil again, I'm gone again. Canada, all this. I'd love to fight in Japan or China. So if I get offered them, I'll fight for peanuts as long as I can go and fight, and I'll fight anyone in the world.
I'll fight China tomorrow. Well, maybe not with
no, let's not go yet. Let's wait.
few months, yeah. Like something like that. That's one of the best things about MMA is traveling. Like we've been so many different places. It's, like at one point we were traveling like every other weekend, going to Sweden or Finland and Poland and stuff. It's mental. So nice.
Yeah, so nice. Amazing. So I think for me, yeah, like I'm not saying I'm retired, but at the same time, I've been doing my stand-up, which I absolutely love, and I cannot progress stand-up. And I'm not saying I want to make a career out of it, but I don't want to do stand-up once every 6 months. But if I do stand-up, I do it. I teach 3 nights a week, and then I train 2 nights a week. You need to do stand-up 3 nights a week. So I can't train for a fight or coach a proper fight team and do stand-up. So I need to decide now, like, either someone offer me a fight where it's good and I'm going to take it, or fuck it, will I be happier just moving on? Pardon?
How old are you?
37.
So 3 years. When's your birthday? Is
March. Just 37.
March is 17th.
15th. Day before.
Day before Maya.
Yeah.
So you got 3 years then, haven't you? Until you're 40. Yeah. So there's no rush. You're coming off a really good win. You could just pick the right fight if it comes up.
And I could fight anyone. I think I could fight anyone in the UK with just a cardio camp.
Because you could be, yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying earlier about sparring and stuff. We've sort of been there and done it. What we need to do is just get sharp.
Yeah, exactly.
Get sharp, and then you've already got the skills. You can always improve, but you've already got the skills. It's just about being sharp and being in the right place mentally. You know, and then you could fight anyone. You could like with your skill set already. You could get in and fight anyone really, and be in with a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, I mean, I'll be happy just doing these podcasts if that could earn me money and podcasts and stuff. I don't it's got to be something really interesting for me to even entertain it now. It's like I'm not just going to fight for the sake of a fight on Raged or something, and that's no discredit to Raged. It's just Raged has got to offer me something really amazing, or someone else has got to, or it's just not worth it. Yeah. What else have we got? Let's have a look at a Instagram question, man. Right, Instagram question. We have got get 1 or 2 of these done before I've got to go at 8 because I've got the quiz tonight.
General knowledge. How long does it take you to get dressed up like that?
Depends what outfit I wear. So, it just depends. Could be a while. But writing the quiz, because I write every single quiz, I write them all the questions myself every single time. 40 questions. So, today I've done 40 questions. That's 2.5 hours of writing questions, thinking of what to do. So there's a lot. Right, let's go for. We've got the most mental obstacle. We've done that really, haven't you? Mentally prepared. We've done that. We've got Kyle has said, "What's your diet like leading up to a fight? What would you recommend as a training regime of someone who wants to fight?" I'm going to take the lead on this one on the people who want to fight. I'll tell you the one thing that if you ever say this, you are not going to make it to the cage to fight. I'll be along to the class as soon as I'm fit enough. You'll never fight. You'll never fight. If you want to fight, you'll go to a class and you'll get fit learning how to fight. There should be nothing that stops you going to your first MMA class. Everyone at the first MMA class has got one thing in common. They started, and that is it. That's where the similarity ends. They all started. So if you want to fight and you're looking for a schedule to fight, your schedule should be, it's Tuesday, there's an MMA class, I'm going. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed.
Yeah, so we got that one sussed.
Kyle's my hairdresser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sound Kyle. He's one of the funniest guys going. He works his ass off. He does. He comes down. He's one of those guys. If you tell him to do something, he just does it without question. It's just easy, isn't it? It's
you've spoken about him before.
That's what Tom needs to do. He needs to train more.
Yeah.
And stop. Yeah, he needs to stop doing certain things and he needs to train more. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But
diet-wise, diet-wise, leading up to a fight.
Just like get rid of all the shit carbs.
Yeah, you were never really very good at that. I've seen you eat sushi the night before a weigh-in and stuff. So
yeah. I was mate. That video, like I was talking about, 66 kilos for the first time. You know, I've made weight so many times that I know exactly how to make weight. It's a ball ache. It's fucking hard. It's tough. It's not fun.
I mean, the thing to remember, I think the biggest thing to remember about making weight and nutrition is mentally it's going to be really fucking hard. You're never going to make fight weight and get nutritionally ready for a fight without it being a massive sacrifice mentally and to your diet.
And then most of it's refueling correctly as well, and getting hydrated and refueling the right way. That's where a lot of people get it wrong. Like they cut the weight and they do stuff, and then they don't prepare themselves for the fight. But let me ask you a question: Who do you think is your most your biggest prospect for success out of A3?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I honestly think Grant Ogborn could do really well. He's got a few things that he's got to address mentally, emotionally, physically. I think he could do really, really well. Ricky could do well. He's got ages on his side, obviously, but like Ricky could do really well. Other than that, there's some guys.
How old's Ricky?
33, I think.
He's all right. He's fresh, isn't he?
He's all right. Yeah, like he's fresh. And people, there's so much of his game that people haven't seen. In a minute, people are going to be shocked. They're going to see a side and they're like, "Fucking hell, he's not just a banger." But there's a few guys who are coming up through the ranks. We got a couple of guys there who are like 17 and 18 who are going to be monsters. It's just keeping these people focused and keep like. You know, I don't spend too much time trying to get you focused on the sport, like, because I got too many people who already are to worry about. If you've
got to talk someone into doing it.
Yeah. And if you show me a tiny little bit of potential, you'll get 100% of my effort. But you have to give back a little bit as well. You have to give a little bit of commitment because nobody did it for me. So to have somebody who's willing to do it for you, I think, So what about yourself? Right back at you that question.
Well, Mini, I thought Mini was going to go real far, but he's left now. Grant as well. We got so many young guys. We got this young German guy called Arthur. He's really good.
I taught him.
We got so many down there.
Yeah.
RJ could get somewhere if he could sort his cardio out. And RJ, like with fighting now and with social media and stuff like that, sometimes people like you can be on social media but you don't train in the way you've got to train. Yeah,
you like the way you portray what you're doing is not actually.
Yeah, and then when you're talking on social media, talking to people who don't know how to train anyway.
Exactly.
So I know how you got to train and stuff like that. I know what's required. Like Grant works really hard. RJ does work hard, but he's one of those that needs a fight to work really hard.
Yeah.
I'll train RJ and I'll look at his numbers when he's doing his cardio and stuff, and you've got a fight, and all of a sudden his numbers will double, like literally double. And I'm like on the assault bike, I'm like, well, why weren't you trying before?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're motivated. You need a fight to motivate you, and it's like if you're going to get to the top, then someone like Nad Narimani, he's in phenomenal shape. 365 days a year.
Yeah, he's never more than 4 weeks away from being fight shape.
I reckon he could fight tomorrow.
Yeah, he could, but I'm talking his fight shape. So he could fight tomorrow, but if you gave him another 4 weeks, he'd be in even better shape. So yeah.
Yeah, he could go 3 rounds tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? He's always in great shape, and he always trains really hard. Yeah. And it's like there's your model right there. Like that's what you got to do. And some people they want to do it, but
I think some people believe they're doing. Some people believe they're doing that. Like I've had that. People come to me like, "Oh, the thing is, you don't realize how hard I'm training." I'm like, "Listen, I've had well over 20 professional fights. I know how hard you're training, and you're training for an amateur fight, and it's not hard enough for that. you're not training at the level that I've trained at and I've coached people at. Like, I know what level you're training at because I've been around the block. We've seen it. And that's the thing. Like, people believe or people underestimate how fucking hard this is.
Yeah. That's like someone put up a program for my first pro fight, and it was like 2006 or 5. 2006, I think, maybe. No, 2005. No, definitely 2006. December the 12th, 2006. And against this guy called Jim Berman. And it went 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And it was the best thing that could have happened because I won. But I was so tired. Never been so tired in all my life. Yeah. And I reckon if the referee hadn't jumped in, I reckon I would have quit in between the first and the second. Because I've never done that before. I'm not joking either. I wouldn't have, because obviously but I would have fucking thought about it. But my lungs were burning for hours and hours and hours afterwards. I couldn't catch my breath. It was insane. And I was like, oh fuck, okay. And I thought I was fit, and I was like, okay, I need a different level of fitness. Because when I watched the fight, it was a round, but it wasn't like a mad round. It was just a normal MMA round, and I was exhausted. I was like, fuck. After that, I started doing
factor in adrenaline and stuff in that as well for your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're nowhere. Like, I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen you take fights on a couple of weeks' notice. I know you're not fit enough really to go and take the fight if it goes 3 rounds. And then I've seen also like when we've both been in fight shape and we could do 5-minute rounds with anybody in the world fitness wise. So there's no doubt in my mind that you would be as you know how to be and have been as fit as you could possibly be for the sport. Like definitely, I know that from training with you. It's like people underestimate a lot of things. Like James Thompson, people have said about James not having any cardio, and I'm like, listen, James Thompson's outworked every man in the gym that I've ever seen, and then he's been sick and carried on training. But it just you think he's got no cardio because he's a massive lump who's got a lot of muscle to oxygen. He'll outwork all of you. He's got loads of cardio, and it's the same. Like, it's your fight should be a small representation of what you do in the gym.
But that's what it is, isn't it? It's like an exam. It's a small like snapshot of your ability.
Yeah.
You know, and some people are good at exams and some people aren't so good at exams. Do you know what I mean? Some people are good under the pressure, and it doesn't. Sometimes fights don't really show someone of their full capability and how good they
are. Donald Cerrone's fought people, and because he can't get going quick enough, boom, he gets smashed like he did against McGregor. And then other people, he knocks out Barboza with a jab. Like, it's just certain people fight different ways, they handle it different ways. The one thing you can't jeopardize and the one thing you can't compromise is you have to train properly, and it's that simple. You can't it's amazing how little excuses the people who have got a massive training resume have got. Like, they got, the more training you've got behind you, your list of excuses gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
just train. You got no excuses, you know.
Yeah, 100%, all the time.
But mate, listen, I think I got to get ready for this thing.
Nice one, Wes. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Listen, mate, it's been a pleasure just to see your face after so many weeks. Yeah, it's been good. Do you want any shout outs or anything to anyone?
Yeah, big shout out to Sweatbox always, Pedro Bessa, Matty at Trojan, Scotty the Lion for always sponsoring me, and everyone else I know, all my teammates. Big hello.
Everybody knows.
Everyone I know, apart from Jesse McCann. He's been getting a bit cheeky down on WhatsApp. He's sending me these screenshots of these shots of him with ginger hair, and then he's saying he's a better ginger than me. He's like fucking the pain in the ass. I'm gonna.
Listen, your ginger is getting less and less, mate.
I know, man. I know.
You look like a paintbrush.
12 years ago, it was orange as fuck. So in another 12 years, my hair's just going to be white. Yeah. But when I was 20, my hair started receding, and I thought I was going to go bald. And I made a deal with God. As long as I didn't go bald, I didn't mind going grey. Oh, because you gone bald, but you look good bald. If I went bald, you seen the picture of me?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no,
it's not good.
Yeah, listen, I made a deal with God. I don't mind going bald as long as I don't go ginger.
Well, that's a terrible deal to make. That's a terrible deal to make. because you've definitely got some ginger in you anyway.
Only in the beard.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which is the only hair I can grow, so it's pretty significant.
Yeah. All right, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Mate, listen, thanks again. We'll get another one in as soon as this is over and done with, and we get training again. We'll get another one in. It's just, we could have spoke about so much stuff and we didn't even get to, and that's just the way you and I are. We'll always be like that. We'll just get together and chat. So thank you very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Nice. Thanks for having me on, mate.
And I'll catch up with you soon, mate.
Later, everyone.